Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, and I would like to welcome you to the other side of midnight. Already in the chat, we have loyal Blue Wrench Connie Cleary. Connie has a channel. Check it out. All right. Our guest is waiting patiently backstage. So we're not going to take up any more of her time. We're going to bring her on. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Sin's Corner.
Hey, how you
Greetings. Fair to partly cloudy. How are you this
doing?
evening?
Very partly cloudy. I like that. I'm gonna have to start using that one.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Right on.
Yep. Just thinking about some movies that I recently watched and filmed a review for one of them today.
Oh, right on.
And have so many things that I am looking forward to watching. So hopefully they'll be good.
Indeed. And we're going to be talking about a few of those tonight.
Yep.
All right. Hello to Netters Network. And Jessica Guajardo. Someday I will pronounce your last name correctly, sir.
I was trying to figure that out myself. Guajardo. I don't know. I can't. I'm not sure.
All right. All right. So, Sin, once again, thank you very much for taking the time out to join us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. We first met on one of Paulie's chats, Latino Slant. Yeah.
Yep. Paulie's a great guy.
He is. And I owe a lot to him. He really once he started bringing me on during member chats and whatnot, that gave me a chance to meet people, and that kind of spread out from there.
Oh, nice.
And yeah.
Did you already have your channel at that point?
I did, but it was I wasn't posting anything at that time.
Oh, okay.
And okay, Guajardo. Okay.
Guajardo. Yeah, okay.
I'll do my best to remember that. Okay.
I was right.
Right.
Guajardo.
Okay.
Right. So, how long had you been like a member with Paulie on Paulie's channel and been on his live streams and stuff?
Oh, that's been a little over a year now.
Okay.
Maybe a year and a half.
Okay, cool. Gosh, I can't remember how I first even found out about his channel. Maybe it just popped up in my YouTube. YouTube decided to let me know about this channel. Yeah, maybe earlier this year. So, yeah.
All right. And hello to Pleasant Valley Picker.
Oh, set the alarm.
Oh. Well,
that's dedication.
If I'm recalling correctly, this is the first time I'm remembering seeing you in my chat. So thank you for being here. Unless I am mistaken.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Which is also altogether possible.
Yeah.
So I hope you, if you are new to the channel, I hope you enjoy the show. All right. So that was actually going to be my first question. Your YouTube origin story. How did you wind up joining our wacky little fellowship here?
Right. Our little cool group of movie lovers. I had initially intended for my channel to be like a decluttering type of channel. I was going to show me trying to organize my house. I made one video. That's as far as it went. And I unlisted it eventually because that was in November of 2018. And then in July of 2019, I decided I I wanted to do stuff related to movies, stories. In my job, I work in audiobooks. I'm an audiobook proofer, among other things, with the company. And a lot of the stories that I work on, I'm not hugely crazy about. But so I wanted an outlet to talk about stories that I really did enjoy. And I mean, not to say that I hate everything I work on, it's just most of them, it's in a genre that's not my favorite. And, so whatever. I still love my job, it's the best job ever. But I wanted to talk about stories that I liked. So I started doing reactions to movie trailers. I was inspired by, what's her name? Grace Randolph, her reactions and
Oh,
things like that.
mhm.
And I've since kind of moved away from Grace because she's got her own whatever.
Thing going. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then later that year I started doing movie reviews because that's my favorite thing to do is talking about movies. And the trailers kind of got me there a little bit, but I was so busy I didn't have much time. But I could film a reaction to a trailer pretty quick. So anyway, I think my very first review might have been for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when that came out. And
Nice.
then, as you know, the world went nuts
Mhm.
in late 2019. 2019 was the first I heard about the problems with what happened in 2020. And things got really dark. So I then wanted some more laughter in my life. So I started reacting to comedy routines. And the one that actually kind of put me on the map on YouTube was a routine, a comedy bit I reacted to of Bill Burr's called
Mhm.
Vagina Privilege. That was the title of it. Yeah, I know. It's not even nasty or anything.
No.
Whoever put that up called it that. And it was basically he's telling this story. It's funny, Bill Burr is hilarious. Have you seen his stuff?
Oh, indeed. Yeah.
Oh, I love Bill Burr.
Yeah.
But he was telling this really funny story, and in the middle of it, he kind of just dropped this bombshell where he's talking about how I'm like the only guy who can give his girlfriend a nice card or a nice dinner, take her out to a nice dinner, and she's like beating me up at the end of the day or something like that. He like basically she slapped him, she started hitting him, she was physically abusive to him,
Mhm.
and that struck a real chord with me. That really really bothered me because I've known multiple men in my life who have been in very toxic relationships with women. One of my great uncles was killed by his crazy wife. And so I I kind of just went on a bit of a rant about the whole thing about, domestic violence happening to men, and men are ridiculed if they talk about it. And I just went on a I just kind of let it loose. I mean, I was civil about it, but I
Mhm.
guess it became obvious how I felt. And so that's when my channel got just like that. And that's when I started to, get bigger and bigger. But I've done reactions. I still continue to do some reactions, but I'm gravitating more and more towards just solely focusing on movie reviews because that's what I love to do the most. So that's kind of the evolution of my channel and how I came to be. And in the process, I've met so many cool people, Polly. I've met really cool people from in the UK. I don't know if you've ever heard of the channel Did You See That? Maybe you haven't, because
No.
that's like he has me on his streams quite often. Just a lovely woman from Ireland called Lisa Loves. A wonderful guy from here called D Movie Man. His channel, he's got some really great movie reviews, and so it's been a lot of fun to meet so many like-minded people. And by like-minded, I don't necessarily mean we all think the same about everything, but just we all love movies and we love to talk about them. So that's kind of the way it's been for me.
Right on.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, so you said you had some reviews coming up. You were working on something right now. Is that something you want to
Oh, sure.
talk about, or
Yeah.
are you trying to?
No, I don't. The only
Okay.
time I ever keep anything secret is if I have it, like, let's say if I'm given an advanced screener and they explicitly say that's an NDA, don't talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
This is not one of those cases. It's for a movie on Netflix that came out in early October, called Reptile with Benicio del Toro. That was the one that
Oh,
I filmed.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's like a detective story, and
Hmm.
it's decent. It's solid. It's passable. I was just saying in my review how I wasn't completely starstruck with it. Like, it didn't really engage me and pull me in like, let's say, Sicario did, which
Right.
is a whole other type of film.
Right.
And what else? There was something else I filmed a review for. Now I can't remember what it was. I've got so many like folders in my
Right.
in my hard drive of these different things that I review. So yeah,
Yeah. You try to
that's
remember.
the
Did
newest
I
one.
do that one yet? Or it's
That's
like,
why I have to.
yeah,
That's why I have to keep. You know, sometimes I forget movies I've seen, which is why I love Letterboxd. Are you on Letterboxd?
I am.
Okay, all right. Then I need to find
Hmm.
you and follow you if I haven't already.
Right
Um,
on.
so yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's great for helping me remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I definitely need to do that because I have this whole weird thing when it comes to movies where I have to make a list. I I
Like
just become obsessed with. I'm weird. I do
your
lists,
top, like my top
kind of
whatever,
that too.
that sort of
But
thing. Okay. Well, you can
I
make all
am
sorts of
like
lists on Letterboxd.
I can even show you like this. I like lists in general. Like I have like scraps of paper that I just have stuff written down on, and you know, so that's it's kind of one of those weird little things. I should just buy a notebook. You don't have to, you know. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, I am. It's weird because I'm the guy who used to keep track of who got nominated for Oscars and all that, and who won at the end of every year.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I have not watched an Oscar telecast straight through in about 15 years, you
Yeah.
know,
Same.
um, and then somebody went and slapped someone, and
Oh, wow, right?
suddenly I had to turn to that channel because the thing I've taken to doing in the last couple of years is watching Chris Gore's channel
Oh yeah,
when
Chris.
he does
Yes.
the Oscars at the end of the year, and so that's how I watch the Oscars. I watch Chris Gore.
I didn't know he did that. So
Yeah.
I have been I've been subbed to his Film Threat channel for a while,
Mhm.
and I was able to meet him actually
Oh, nice.
in September when I went to Dragon Con. I found out through Polly that
Mhm.
Chris was going to be there. So I contacted Chris and I asked if I could, you know, like say hi. So he happened to have a panel, so I went there and afterwards we had a really nice conversation. He just loves movies as much as the rest of us. And it was an absolute treat to meet him, and he even extended an invite that whenever I'm out in California, if I want to get together with them for movie night, because they go, like him and Nerderotic and Polly, they go
Mhm.
to see movies. So I told him maybe I'd take him up on that offer sometime. We'll see. Oh, sorry,
He's
just
got
now noticed this.
Troy has a question. Is
Yeah,
this
did you get a lot of comments from abusive
comments?
women calling you a pick me girl after that? Um, you know what? I hadn't even heard of that phrase until actually pretty recently, and no, I didn't. Um, I don't believe I did. If I did, maybe YouTube sequestered the comments because they'll kind of take it upon themselves to remove certain comments, and sometimes I don't even know. But no, I didn't. But what I did get, um, quite a bit, a little bit after that. No, maybe it was before that. I did a reaction to a movie or a series on Netflix. Gosh, was it called Unforgivable? Maybe I can't remember. Doggone it! But it was basically a
I think
movie
so.
about a girl. Did you see it? Did you watch that?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it
Do you know what the premise is?
somewhat.
Okay. Well, if I'm remembering it correctly, it's about
Hmm.
this girl who um, she had been
Hmm.
and then she retracted it. So like it was treated as a fake claim. But the reality was it really had happened. And in that reaction, I made a comment about how um, these sorts of situations, like fake claims, they happen quite a bit. And some people got so angry with me. Oh no, it's only like 3%. And I've been reading up on this sort of stuff, and depending on where you are, it can go as high as 40% or more.
Mhm.
So, and this was during, I guess, sort of the, believe all women type of
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, no, no, you can't. That cannot be the default, that you believe all women just because they say something has happened. It needs to be credible, because a woman can make a claim and completely destroy someone's life just because she said something, even if it's not true. So that was when I got a bit of
Mhm.
pushback from people. They didn't appreciate. They didn't appreciate that that was the stance I took. But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think I got too much pushback on. If I did, I forgot, because I believe there were thousands of comments on that particular video. It has
Mhm.
close to 200,000 views. I started to lose track of stuff. So it's possible, but I might have missed, or maybe I'm just, nothing's coming to me at this point. It was mostly very positive, very welcoming, appreciative comments that I got.
Mhm.
So yeah.
That's one of the things I have noticed here, and maybe it's just the subscribers that I have are the people who um, happen to notice one of my videos and just decide what the hell I'll watch it. Um, a lot of the feedback I've gotten has been
Positive.
fairly positive,
Yes. Yep.
especially with, and like I said, not necessarily on this show, but there have been times where I've brought up some pretty controversial stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid to speak my mind on it. And
Yeah.
and I always think, okay, they're going to
You're
come
gonna get
after me for
blasted. They're
that
coming
one,
after me. It's gonna happen. Yep. They're gonna cancel me.
but they don't. they,
No,
they really haven't.
I
Yeah.
feel like YouTube. Maybe it depends what circle you're in. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like on Twitter, you definitely have more of the angry mob sort of mentality that
Oh, yeah.
happened. Uh, in general, most of the interactions on here have been overwhelmingly positive and very friendly. There have been a few people that come on and it's very obvious they're just being an asshole.
Hmm.
Trolly people, people say
Yeah.
very inappropriate things, and that's a very, very tiny minority. There are
It
some
is.
people that it's obvious all they want to do is just argue with you and argue and argue and argue. And I've discovered that there's this lovely feature on YouTube called hide user from channel. You just hide
Yeah.
them. You just hide them. They can continue to talk all they want, but nobody's going to see anything. So there have been some people I've had to do that to, but not many lately, honestly. So,
Yeah. The only time I've really had to do that was when someone decided to use my comment section to threaten another YouTuber, and I went, nope. Yeah, yeah,
oh,
you're
yeah,
not on my channel. You're not.
yeah. Yeah,
Goodbye.
and
You
also
know.
because um I want my channel to be, so I do voice my opinion about
Mhm.
certain things. I don't necessarily make a secret of how I feel about certain things, but that's not the goal of my channel. The goal of my channel is I want to talk about movies, and if a certain subject happens to come up, I will express my viewpoint about whatever it is. But in general, I want my channel to be a happy place, talking about movies we all love. That's what I want the focus to be. So I do tend to not really delve too heavily into certain controversial topics.
Mhm.
It's not that I refuse to talk about it at all. It's just I don't make that the focus. I don't make that my intent. So when I see things starting to explode in my comment section, if I see people are being really nasty to others or to me, yeah, then that's when it's time to do something about that.
Yeah, you got to be the adult.
Yeah. I'll be the adult and I will just quiet you.
You see the back of my hand.
Silence you.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, really, it was just kind of that one time, and so I've been fairly lucky. Apart from that, Twitter is pretty much still the Wild West.
I had the craziest argument today on Twitter, and it might still be ongoing. It was it was a math problem. Of all things, the problem was some people were never taught PEMDAS. I'll tell you that much. It's very clear. They think they can just do whatever when it comes to math equations. It was very simple. It was 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 times 0. And most people got it right. But some people were arguing like crazy that the answer was not 18. It is 18. And they'll argue, that's like, well, sorry, I disagree. It's like, this is not an opinion-based thing. This is actual math.
It's numbers.
You can disagree with me if you want, but you're still wrong. It was like, if you don't believe me, just type it into a calculator. And then he goes on and says something about, well, it's still going to be such and such with or without a calculator. No. This is what it's going to be with a calculator and without a calculator. Oh my gosh. And there were some people that just got really very upset at the fact that they didn't get this math problem right.
It's the simplest things.
It was so funny.
It's like,
oh my gosh.
It's like, we can laugh at that, but folks, there are more important things.
I know. Some people, I tell you.
Okay.
Whew, it was funny. I don't know if that was a tangent, but you brought up Twitter, and that just reminded me of what had happened today.
I know. Twitter gets crazy. Patreon can get a little weird sometimes too.
Really?
Because I had to. You say the wrong thing there.
Oh, you mean
you're pretty much out.
The organization itself, not necessarily the people that are. When you say Patreon,
well, Patreon is like weird.
Members or
members, yeah.
Oh, okay.
On occasion, because I had to leave the page of someone who's a fairly prominent YouTuber because of some stuff that was going on there, and I'm like, I am not paying $20 to be called an asshole, just because I didn't like the last Star Wars series,
Oh, no. Okay.
I got better things to do with my time than, talk about something that, as far as I'm concerned, ended in 1983.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole,
Oh my gosh, those movies. I pretend the sequel trilogy just doesn't exist.
No. It's I consider Disney Star Wars fan fiction myself. That's my opinion on it.
It does feel like that for sure. Yeah. There are a few decent ones. I did enjoy Rogue One. I feel like that's the more solid of the movies.
Yeah.
And the Andor show was very good, in my opinion. All the rest, nope. I stopped after one season of The Mandalorian. And the reason I didn't go back to it was because I was really annoyed at the way Gina Carano was treated.
Yeah.
And accused of things that she never did or said or thought. Well, I mean, obviously we don't know what she thinks, but I'm pretty confident she didn't think these things that she was being accused of saying or thinking or being, whatever. Yet at the same time, Pedro Pascal does something literally worse.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing happened to him.
Nothing.
So that really aggravated me. I don't like this inconsistency. If you're going to be super offended and get a burr up your behind about something that someone says, then you need to be consistent. Don't be selective about who you apply these rules toward. So, yeah, I was like, I'm not going to watch this anymore. I don't want to see this again.
Yeah.
So I didn't go back to it.
yeah, after season 2, that was it. And based on what I've heard of season 3, I didn't miss anything. So
That's what I've heard.
I,
So,
I,
and I've heard
if
Ahsoka is terrible.
yeah, there, I'm back and forth on whether or not I'm going to be watching Ahsoka. I still might because
I like that they brought Hayden Christensen back as Anakin.
Yeah, sorry, that's my son. He hears me. Yeah, I know they
that's
brought
fine.
Hayden Christensen
They
back.
showed literally like a scene of the
I
Clone Wars
saw,
and Rex as well. I mean, that's probably the only good part.
but some of the stuff that I've heard they've been putting in with his character messes with the original timeline. Like it's not consistent. And it feels like they just threw him in just to make, you know, fan service. It's let's make the fans happy because Hayden's back.
I thought it
Oh,
was just visions.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm not going to watch it. It annoys me because I feel like Rosario Dawson was a great pick for that character.
Yeah.
Because from the moment I saw her, when we saw her in the Clone Wars movie and then the animated show, I always thought that she looked like Rosario Dawson. Okay, the equation was 6 plus, maybe I should write it in the comments.
6 plus
Here, I'll write it in the comments. You guys can fight about it over there.
It was you said 6 plus 6 plus 6
6 plus 6 plus 6, and then it was times 0. That was the equation right there. I actually like Hayden Christensen, Connie, but I'm not super. I wasn't impressed as much as I think the creators of the show were hoping people would be by bringing him back, because from what I was hearing, it doesn't sound like it served the actual. Yes, it is still 18. That's true. People were.
Wait, did you say 4 sixes?
Yes, it's 4 sixes times 0. So some people were adamant that it was 0, and some people were adamant that it was. Some people were saying it was 24, or so. I can't remember. Most people were saying it was 18, but some people were like, "Well, there's no parentheses, so you go left to right." No. If there's no parentheses, if there's no exponents, then you do multiplication and division starting from left to right. Well, it just so happened that the multiplication, is at the end, but you do that first. So 6 times 0 is 0.
Well,
that leaves you with 6 plus 6 plus 6, which is 18. That's how you get 18.
I would get that.
So
3 sixes would make 18, and then times 0. Well, it's
no, and I'm not going to get into a math lesson.
No,
with you right now.
Let's not.
But it's just basic. It's PEMDAS is what it is.
I don't think I've ever done PEMDAS. So
I taught it to you a long time ago in homeschool. Yes, I did.
It's been a while.
But we're not going to have a refresher course right now. I'm having a refresher course with the audience.
Well, hey, I'm the audience. Let's go.
So anyway, it's just like little things like that. Anyway, yeah. So that was the equation. You do the 6 times 0 first, then you add up the rest of the 6s, and that's why it is 18, and it will always be 18. And if you type it into a calculator, it is 18. If you type it into Excel, it is 18. So, okay, that was a tangent.
Okay, no worries. All right. Okay, for those of you who are still here, we're going to move on to a subject other than math. Okay, and because as we have established on Twitter, math is racist. So we're going to move on. And guys, it makes sense if you think about it. All right.
I know, it's not that hard.
No. Do it long and still. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
How
many subs have I lost? Let me see. No, I'm kidding. No! My channel, my beautiful, beautiful channel.
You are sorry you ever invited me on here.
No.
Do I need to go?
No, please. Absolutely stay. I've been thinking, I need a partner to do these things. Maybe I like no. Anyway. Well, let's talk about the thing that really did bring us together and that inspired this episode of the show. And it's a little comedy that I like to call When Evil Lurks.
I know. Yeah.
And
sure.
yeah, this is the German comedy.
German comedy.
German comedy. And no. Um,
Oof.
it's actually a secret sequel to Roger Rabbit. I didn't know that until today, but
Oh, really? Oh my
no,
gosh, you learn something
anyway,
new every day.
who knows? And so from movies to math, we're bringing it back, Jesse.
We're coming back around. We're circling back.
We're circling.
Sorry,
you should know. You should know what kind of show this is by now. You know, for one thing, I'm here. That adds a half hour to every live stream.
And I'm known to go on. I go on tangents in my movie reviews and have to rein myself in. So, yeah, it happens.
Yeah. So, well, you're talking about the group that goes. Chris and Paulie and Nerdrotic, and they do this movie night together. Everybody went to Exorcist. Yeah. And Paulie went to When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks, yeah.
And I had not heard of
happy one at the end.
Sorry, I think so. He did an out of the theater review, and I had never heard of the movie. And whenever Paulie starts, praising something that I hadn't heard of, that really, that piques my interest.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I look through Regal because I have Regal Unlimited.
So do I. It's a lovely membership.
It is.
For people like us.
Mm-hmm. And so I look through it, and how about that? Where Evil Lurks. I mean, I keep wanting to say where. It's When Evil Lurks. Sorry.
Me too. It's When Evil. I have to catch myself as well.
Yeah.
When Evil Lurks.
So I went to the movie. I basically made a choice Paulie did because I was originally going to go to Exorcist that night.
Okay.
And so I'll maybe push that aside, wait a day or two. And so I sat down. It's just me and two other people in the theater.
Mm-hmm, same.
And
yeah.
And then the fun started, and it was a laugh riot for 99 minutes.
I got an abdominal workout from laughing so hard.
Yeah, laughing while looking at the screen like this. So and we both wound up on the on Paulie's panel discussion.
Yeah.
And so have you any thoughts on that film? While that have kind of come to mind since, or anything?
Well, I don't know if anything new has come to mind, but I had actually heard about this movie shortly before I saw Paulie's out of the theater reaction. I think I had either seen it on the Regal app or the Cinemark app, because daily I look through to see what tickets are available. And I saw it was this horror movie of Spanish language, so that automatically intrigued me. I like to get listening comprehension in. So it's like, oh, Spanish language, and it's horror. Okay, cool. And then I saw his out of the theater reaction. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to be seeing this. I might have already had my ticket by then. It wasn't available on Thursday when The Exorcist came out, the Thursday preview. So I was going to go see it the next day at 12, and then that was canceled, and I didn't know about it. I go to the theater, and kids stuff starts playing. It's like, I'm in the wrong theater. What's going on? So I went back later that night, and that's when I saw it. And boy, oof.
Yeah.
That was some filmmaking, I must say.
Indeed. For those of you who are maybe not familiar with this movie and haven't seen Sins or Minds or Paulie's reviews yet, this is a movie that does not hold back. And
Nope.
it really is very much in the vein of vein. I gotta say vein. You'll be seeing plenty of veins. Yeah.
Oh.
It goes. It's very much in the vein of 70s cinema, especially when it comes to horror. I was reminded very much of movies like um, the Crazies
Yeah, you mentioned
or
that.
the
Yeah.
Children or something like that, because it does. Um, because when the evil is unleashed, it works like a virus,
Mm-hmm.
like an infection, like a contagion, and it
Yes.
just spreads through this town until in the end our hero can't outrun it.
Mm-hmm.
And
And nobody's safe, not even the
nobody
children.
nobody is safe. Yeah.
Oof.
And I'm thinking of the bit with the mother when he sees her
In the headlights.
in the headlights, and like, and
Yeah.
where that goes, and like,
And what we see there, ooh, that was really
okay.
brutal. That was brutal. Oh, yeah, that was brutal. And the other scene with the other child, that was
Mm,
brutal. But like I mentioned on the stream, the scene that I had the hardest time actually watching, and I did look away multiple times, was when he was pulling the stuff out of that.
yeah.
Mm-mm. That I cannot handle. That was rough. But we discussed an issue that we had,
Yeah.
and that still bothers me, that that wasn't handled better.
No.
That's such a huge problem
There's
that is still stuck in my head. Like I think
yeah.
about this movie, and then I think about that one scene where they didn't notice somebody was missing. Somebody important was missing. I don't know. I have a
Yeah.
feeling there was something edited out.
So,
There
I
has
think
to have been.
something got left out.
Surely. Yeah,
I have to think something
some
got
dialogue
left.
dubbing, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe when they went in the house. I don't know. But it aggravates me.
Yeah.
But
That
overall,
was
it was good.
overall it's a great movie, but that's one thing that I've noticed, and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on tonight was the fact that I've noticed that we tend to like and dislike the same things for the same reasons.
Mm.
And we see a lot of the same movies at around the same
Yeah.
time. Now I know why. We both have the
Yes.
yeah.
And
So
I like to
we're
go
privy to
Thursday
the
free.
same
I like to go.
information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And
Do
I
you go
think
do you do Regal Mystery Movie Monday?
I do.
Okay. All right. Okay, sorry.
I do.
Proceed.
So I was just about to bring that up, and I think we were like the first two people that I saw that had a review for Freelance
Oh, okay.
out on that I saw
Okay.
anyway. But
I didn't even
now it's
notice. I didn't
starting
even
to
look for other reviews. Okay, interesting.
no. But
So what did you think about Freelance? Because I haven't seen yours yet.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I went into it. Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I went into it again blind. Hadn't seen a trailer. Didn't
Yeah,
know
I hadn't
anything
seen a
about the
trailer.
story.
I just saw a
I
poster.
was the poster, right? That was
I
it.
knew
That
the
was all I
synopsis.
knew.
That was everything. Yeah.
Hmm. I didn't even have a synopsis. So
Okay.
I was completely blind.
Okay.
Um, other than okay, freelance John Cena, Allison Brie, an ex wrestler who, in my opinion, can act.
He wasn't
And
so great in here, as far as his
he's
acting.
no,
He's okay in Peacemaker.
yeah, as
He's actually
Peacemaker,
decent
he's good.
in that role. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on him yet. Past that,
No, I get it. I get it
um,
completely.
and I've heard of Allison Brie, but this is the first time I had actually seen her in anything.
I'm thinking the same thing, unless
Yeah,
this is just the first time I noticed her as an actor and she was a side character I never paid attention to before. I honestly
mm-hmm.
don't know. So my favorite
Right.
character was the dictator.
Yeah, he steals the movie.
That's what I said. He stole the show. Like, I wanted to hang out with this guy more. He was funny.
You do, yeah, because at the beginning you're led to believe that he's this
Yes.
kind of I guess Noriega type character, and then you actually find out that he's actually not at all that.
Yeah, the situation is not what you thought.
No, and you find out that he truly is this man of the people, I guess. He's from this very small village.
It was funny how he was in the know on pretty much everything that was happening. And at the end, when he's looking in, like the press conference, and they're asking him how many people want to kill you. Oh, half. More than half.
Maybe more. He knows. It's just that
it was so funny.
Even on the bridge, it's a coup.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no big deal. No big
Tuesday, come along.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he steals that movie.
He does. He's really a good actor.
And it's always cool to see Christian Slater in something.
Yeah.
Too, even though it's a smaller
role.
Part that
I didn't realize he was going to be in there.
Yeah, it kind of plays like they had him for 3 days or something,
Yeah, that's probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, but so it was cool to see him, and it's one of those movies, and it kind of reminded me a lot of Mafia Mama.
I have not
earlier
seen that.
this year, but that was another movie that had it to me it had the same mix of comedy and then this really kind of somewhat gory action, because there's a scene in Mafia Mama where a guy gets shall we say diced.
Oof.
Yeah, and so yeah, it was to me they kind of stand side by side with one another. It kind of felt like watching the same movie in a way, but
okay, similar formula then.
Similar formula, yeah. But that was one, and to see something like Freelance, which had a little bit of levity to it, as opposed to the doom and gloom that was When Evil Lurks, despite the fact that I think that's one of the best movies of the year so far. But I kind of hesitate, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm tired.
It is late.
I hesitate recommending it to anyone because it's
heavy.
It's
brutal.
It is.
They don't take consideration into, like, they don't take American audiences into consideration, because how so many Americans are so sensitive to things that are shown. It kind of reminds me of this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's tied in with basically foreign movies. And how I feel like in so many ways, foreign movies are a better viewing experience, or they have more solid storytelling because they go there. I'm watching this movie on Netflix called Nowhere. It's another Spanish language movie, and it's not horror, it's a survival movie, but I've got about 20 some minutes left to go. And it's about this woman who, she and her husband are trying to flee the country because it's the country has basically spiraled out of control. The government's being very heavy-handed. I think they're fleeing Spain. And so they're trying to go to another country or whatever. And they end up separated. And they're in shipping containers. And she's on the shipping container on the boat. And something happens. All the shipping containers fall off the boat into the ocean. She's stuck inside this shipping container, and she's pregnant. and she goes into labor and she has the baby while she's in this, survival situation trying to, live in the shipping container. And that particular scene, the birth scene, it's like that's one of the most realistic birth scenes I have ever seen. I swear to goodness, it looked like an actual, honest to goodness, newborn baby being born in the water.
Wow.
And like the nursing scenes, it's like, was this woman pregnant when she filmed this movie and now it's showing her feeding her baby? Because I swear that looks like real. But it probably wasn't. But the stuff that they show, very, very good with the effects. And it's brutal, the stuff that she is going through. And it's about a 2-hour movie, and I'm like an hour in and I'm ready for it to be over because I am exhausted for her. It's just like, it really doesn't spare you. And that's like how it's a very similar experience to something like When Evil Lurks. Foreign movies, they just do their thing. And they're not concerned with sensitivities about stuff. For the most part. Maybe some of them do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a lot of times I feel like if you want a good story and if you want it told well on screen, it feels like most of the time you're going to have that experience if you go outside our borders.
Yeah. And that works in its favor. And Connie says she's going to see it on Tuesday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what you think, Connie. Buckle up.
Yeah, so it's still in theaters. It's coming to Shudder on the 27th, I think.
27th, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually a pretty cool thing. And are you a fan of Shudder at all? Or
I subbed to Shudder a long time ago. I think I subbed to them around the time when Joe Bob Briggs came back. Like, do you know who Joe Bob Briggs is?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I remember him back in the Monster Vision days on TNT.
Right, from way back then. Yeah. I'd never heard of him before, but one of my cousins was a fan, and that's how I found out about him. And then he came back to Shudder, and I think it was 2019, and it broke the website. The servers crashed because there was so much response to it. So yeah, that I've been a member since 2019, a subscriber. Yeah, it's great. They have a lot of really solid content on there.
Yeah. This is actually a funny thing. This happened, I got an email on the 13th, and I did a review of a Shudder movie called Consecration.
Okay, haven't seen that
yet. I don't know if you saw that, with Jenna Malone and Danny Houston.
Have not.
And I reviewed that months ago. And I did like a brief 3 or 4 minute video on it. And again, months ago. And then on Friday, I get the email. Well, you're blocked in like 9 countries. Your reviews.
Why?
Probably because I have part of the trailer in it.
Did you dispute it?
Nah.
Dude, I dispute.
It's not a strike. It's a claim. I don't care. I get 2 of those everything. A week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get them as often as I used to, but I dispute them. And I still have a list of ones that I have to go back and appeal their denial. Well, that sucks. Which countries was it blocked in?
Well, I think Afghanistan, India, Bhutan, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sri Lanka.
I know that there's a lot of heavy censorship in those areas.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another reason why I went.
So is it? It doesn't sound like it's an actual copyright sort of claim. It's just.
I think it's just
block because of material in the trailer, probably.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I do a number of karaoke streams, and those always get hit for copyright. So they all do. So it's like I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, it's one of the reasons, going back to the movie for a minute, that I like it, is the fact that it doesn't hold back, and I think those are the horror movies that I think are the best. The ones that either don't hold back, or they're so subtle that you can kind
Mm-hmm.
of, it leaves you to figure things out for yourself.
Yeah, or plays
you
mind
know
games with you. The psychological horror can be very effective.
right. And one movie that I kind of championed earlier in the year was Skinamarink. And
I heard
and
about
that's
this film.
it's a movie that I know is not for everybody,
Yeah.
because it's so abstract. I called it in my review, uh, what if David Lynch made a Paranormal Activity?
Hmm. Okay.
It would be this movie. you know and again, it's a movie that does not explicitly tell you what is really going on. You could take it on face value, that it is a demon that has latched onto this family, or you can read between the lines and see this whole other story taking shape. I am of my theory of the movie is that it's really about child abuse and
Mm-hmm.
abandonment, you know, and and whether or not you choose to believe that it's one parent or the other depends on what your point of view is. But that's the way that uh, I look at it, and it's actually based on a short film. The
Oh, really?
director has a YouTube site
Oh, okay.
where he has a number of short films up, and he has like a 27-minute short film that's called Heck, and
Okay.
it's basically where Skinamarink came from.
Okay.
But it's different in that in the short story it's just a mother and a boy.
Mm.
Um,
Is this the same director?
it's the same director,
Oh, okay. So he then just
Kyle Edward
took.
Ball. Yeah,
Okay, so he just took this short and he made it into a full
it,
length
it,
movie,
it's it's
basically.
it's kind of proof of concept.
Okay.
But the feature goes off into a number of different directions. He didn't just make the same film and extend it. It is different in a number of ways.
Okay.
Um, um, and my theory of what is happening in both films is different from the short to the feature.
Okay.
But it's just, but how, but depending on what one may think of the movie, or what they think is actually happening, how many movies get made today that make you think,
Oh,
that try to make you decipher what the plot is? It's
yeah.
not just this one and done, boring Hollywood by committee movie, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Well,
Indy 5.
well,
But
well, this is
you
like I
know,
said, I think probably
yeah.
going to find most of those experiences outside of our borders, outside of Hollywood.
Hmm.
You go to places like South Korea or Japan or India. India, I'm a little iffy on Indian movies. It depends on what um, subsection of
Hmm.
the film industry it comes from. And then you've also got movies, Central and South American movies. And then you have, of course, the Hollywood fluff that we often get. So I don't mind abstract stuff, to, but only to a certain extent. When I found
Hmm.
out how Skinamarink went, I knew I would not like that, so I never watched it.
Hmm.
I just knew. And my son works at a movie theater, and he was saying people were coming out of there just so aggravated at how it was.
Mhm.
And when he was telling me that, that's when I decided, okay, I don't think I'm interested to watch it. Then I'll skip.
Yeah, because American audiences go into a horror movie expecting, okay, it's going to be a slasher or it's going to be a monster.
Yeah.
And this is a movie where you don't get the slasher and you don't get the monster, at least not overtly.
Mm-hmm.
I am of the belief that there is a monster, but if it is a
Metaphorical or
rather
actual.
it's metaphorical or actual, it
Mm-hmm.
again is up to interpretation. Um, it's a story told from the point of view of a child, so you're seeing things as a child would see them.
Okay.
And it's and not only physically seeing things as a child would see them, it's shot that way. You have angles looking up at things,
Like, yeah, because the child is small. Yeah.
because the child is small, and kind of looking around corners, and you know what is that at the top of the stairs,
Mm.
and there's a lot of that. And then it does go into that metaphysical or metaphorical thing. It is up to interpretation. And
Did you see it on the big screen?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a chance to see it, and they
Yeah.
showed it. They showed it for. They had like a 2-day
Yeah, it wasn't in theaters
window.
very long. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it went straight to Shutter after that. Bill says very little dialogue. I found it kind of boring. There's not a lot of dialogue. No, and the dialogue that is there are in this very quiet.
Does it have more dialogue in it than "No One Will Save You"?
Yes.
Okay. Because that doesn't have a lot of dialogue, Jedi Bill, but I don't think you will find that one boring. There's probably only 5 words spoken in "No One Will Save You." But it's a totally different type of movie than Skinamarink.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Jesse says, I'm not a fan of movies that go for a psychological experiment to make me think what the plot is, even if it's revealed in the trailer. No, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Connie said it's open to interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I certainly have my opinion on what the movie is about, and I might be totally wrong, but I'm taking into account.
It's both things. Maybe, like, have you gone to look up what the director says it's really about? Because sometimes they do that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he is someone who is very much along the lines of like a David Lynch. So and usually with David Lynch, he leaves the interpretation of his movies up to you.
Yeah.
So that's why I went into Skinamarink going, okay, I get this. I get what he's going for here, and everybody's not going to go for it. In the screening I saw it in, people walked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it sounds like that was happening at my son's theater.
But people walked out of Freelance.
Oh, really?
For whatever reason.
Yeah. Some people just
don't
like Cena.
Some people just they're not going to go for certain things, and that's fine. I always say in my reviews that it's purely my opinion, and you can agree or disagree, but at the same time, all I ask is to hear me out, and if you think I'm wrong, that's what you got the comment section for.
Yeah.
But Bill says,
oh,
I actually fell asleep trying to watch No One Will Save You. I might try to
All
rewatch it.
right.
Yeah, give it a rewatch. It's actually not a bad movie.
I felt
Um,
it was
it's,
decent. It
it's,
had.
it's interesting.
I was
Yeah.
still thinking about that ending.
Yeah. Because, again, an ending that can be interpreted a couple of different ways. I
Yeah,
think.
it, but also an ending that gave me very mixed feelings. Like there was a part of me that was happy, but then there was a part of me that was very disturbed about how it ended. I'm trying to avoid spoilers for those of you who haven't
Right, because
seen it.
for those of you who haven't seen it, it's not an ending that I was expecting.
Same. I did appreciate that this movie went to places I wasn't expecting.
Right.
Yeah.
And again,
You'll know what we're talking about when you see it.
When you see it, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to go into. You see, that's the thing, was when I reviewed it, I did something I never did. I did a spoiler review.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Because I couldn't figure out, how am I going to talk about this without going into the ending.
Right.
Because I
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like I said, it is open to interpretation. It is something. You can either take it on face value, like I said before. You can take it on face value. You can think about it a little bit and go, what's the implication of that, though?
So I think so I watched some, like the ending explained type of videos. And I am of the and I was always of the impression when I saw it, and then it's been reinforced after I watched this one particular video that was talking about the ending. And I think I take it at face value. What we're supposed to think is happening is really what's happening, because there is this particular video I watched, and I don't remember whose it was, but they were talking about a scar, a mark on a character that happened during the course of the movie. So this mark still shows up. So at the end, the very end, you still see like a faint mark. And this is why I take it at face value. I don't think it's symbolic. I think it's really happening, what it shows at the end. And so because of that, it gives me two very completely different feelings about it. Part of me is happy for a particular character, and part of me is very disturbed for other particular characters on behalf of other particular characters. So it's a mix. It's like this weird bittersweet type of ending.
It's that, but the thing that came to my mind was, okay, you just substituted one prison for another.
Yeah. We substituted the prisons.
Yeah.
You substituted the prisoners, is basically what happened.
Yeah.
That's basically, yeah.
Pretty dark.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. The main con to it for me was that they showed the creatures too much. The more they showed of them, the less scary and effective they were.
And some of the CG is a little dodgy.
I think they should have held back from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Totally Killer?
Not yet.
That's one of the.
Yeah. I saw your review though, and that made me think. I don't know about this one, man.
You may feel completely different. I've had some comments on the video saying yes, like basically agreeing with that, and then others like I really liked it for this and whatever. I wanted to love that movie. I wanted to, just because it's got so many elements that I like in a film. But yeah, as the stuff I said, I want to talk about that ending so much, but I can't. Because spoilers. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, I was putting it together in my mind as you were describing it in the video, and I'm like, oh, that gets off to a good start, and then
Yeah, it's got
oh,
a really interesting premise,
oh,
but there's too
yeah,
many plot holes. And then there
hmm
was the issues I was talking about, how the 80s were represented, and it was just way over the top, and it was just okay. All right, I know this is supposed to be comedic, but some of the comedy of that didn't really, for me, it didn't really work.
hmm
Um, it was, I didn't hate it, I just didn't love it, and I had a
and
huge issue with the.
you wanted to love it,
I wanted to love it because it
yeah.
was like, oh, this is going to be great. And the killer with the mask. The mask is cool. The whole, it's like a whole new sort of serial killer type of character, and the '80s and time travel and all that. But that ending is just like, there's no way, there is no way this person would exist, given stuff that went on in this movie. No freaking way. So yeah, that was mostly because the '80s. I but I liked the film. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it to an extent, but there was too much wrong with it for me to fully get on board with it. And that aggravated me. I think I was a little annoyed when I did the review because when there's a film that has promise and you watch it and you find out it does not measure up, you feel, well, I feel personally aggravated. I feel personally aggravated about a movie that I know has potential to be something really good. And then when it's done, you realize this was no. So, yeah. Okay, I'll quit ranting about it now.
No, no, no. I'm trying to think if there was one. Well, the one that really struck me as how could you have messed that up was the Expendables.
The fourth one,
Yeah.
I didn't even go see it.
Well,
And I'm glad
technically
I
I
didn't.
didn't either, but
Oh, yeah, okay. I heard
um,
how terrible it was.
it's not good. And I'm like, it's so good guy, bad guy, have a couple of shootouts, done.
Yeah.
How do you mess that up? you know,
Well, I heard they
um,
found a way, so.
they found a way, and well, basically what happened there was they started out doing a spin-off story with Jason Statham's character. That was the
Okay.
original intent, that it was just going to be this spin-off separate thing with his character. Because one of the things that happened was that Stallone didn't want to do a fourth movie.
Okay. That's why he wasn't in it very much then.
Which is why he's not in it very much, because
Okay.
somewhere along the way he went from, okay, I'm not doing the next one, so they had to write a story that didn't have him in it.
Mm.
But then he came back. So now they got to shoehorn him back into the movie.
Oh, I see.
So you now have these two, opposing ideas. You have this spin-off story with a Christmas, Statham's character, and then you have to have this other story that brings the other Expendables back into it.
Mm.
And it is obvious it was two story
Sounds
ideas
like it was a mess. Yeah.
crammed together.
Okay.
It is an editing nightmare, and you can tell. You can tell.
CGI was. I heard it
The
was so
CGI
obvious. They were on a green screen at one
bad.
point.
Oh. Half the movie takes place on a boat. It's kind of like Die Hard on a boat. It's,
okay. Like Speed 2.
Yeah, but like Speed 2 is Citizen Kane compared to this.
Oh Lord.
And then they throw in. And then they throw in this villain. Well, for one thing, that's another thing that happens. You're led to believe through 80% of the movie that one particular character is the villain, and then you find out it's actually someone else behind the scenes the entire time. Blah blah. It's kind of been done. And when that character reveals himself to be what he turns out to be, and they get an actor who's a really good actor, who's an Academy Award nominated actor, and he's terrible.
Wow.
You know, and it's just like, are you a Looney Tunes cartoon? What are you doing?
That's how I felt about there was a movie I saw recently, and there was a very competent actor in there, and she was awful. Oh my gosh, I can't remember who it was, what movie it was. It was some horror movie I saw. I thought it. Well, I think it was. I thought it was a horror movie, but that reminds me of that. You know, someone that you know can do their job well, and they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just
I'm glad I didn't. I toyed with the idea of going to see it, and I thought if I do that, I'm going to have to watch the first 3. But
the first 3 are fine.
Well, but maybe I will eventually watch the first 3 all the way through. But then I heard how terrible this one was. So
you don't really need to see the other 3 to really get because nothing happens. Who wrote and directed Expendables 4? The director was a guy named Rick Romanois. I think that's how he pronounces it. It's W-A-U-G-H. That's his last name. And if I remember correctly, he directed Act of Valor.
Was that movie from?
It was a few years ago where they had
plus years ago when there was real Marines or real.
It was real life SEALs. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And if I remember correctly, he directed that or might have produced it or something. But he's the director on Expendables 4, and and I again I don't know. I think there's things going on behind the scenes and script changes, and it's
it sounds like it for sure.
The way it's edited together, you could tell they had a whole other movie in mind when they made it, and so I don't know. That's the thing is it has competent people in front of and behind the camera, and then they just paycheck.
They have everything that they should have, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I shall not be watching that.
No. I don't blame you. It's I'm pretty sure it's going to be on my 10 worst list at the end of the year. And
I imagine.
And Jedi Bill, who's in the chat, we've been talking behind the scenes about doing a 10 best and 10 worst show at the end of the year. So
collab review, collab.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things I've been using Letterboxd for is to create a list of my favorite and my least favorite. And I started doing that this year because last year I had created a list of my top 10 favorites, and one of the movies that actually was in my favorites I completely omitted because I made the mistake of using Letterboxd to search by year for a particular movie. And there was this one movie that was dated a 2021 movie instead of 2022. And I thought that was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. They consider it a 2021 movie because it premiered at like Fantastic Fest or something like that.
Yeah, they do that.
Like
it gets confusing sometimes.
So I completely that movie never showed up when I was trying to refresh my mind. So now I've created a watch list. I've created a list and I add to it as I watch different movies. So I've already got my list ready to go, but the year's not done yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
You know, there was a movie I think last year or the year before called God Forsaken. I don't know if you saw that or not. It was it's a found footage movie.
Oh, okay.
It's about a guy, this guy who goes back to his hometown for the funeral of an old friend, and then this woman, and in the middle of the funeral service, she opens up the coffin. Hey, I'm okay. She comes back to life in the middle of her funeral, and
So she was or wasn't dead?
she is undead. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay.
She's zombie,
okay.
but she looks completely normal, and it becomes
Oh,
this.
kind of like Drew Barrymore in that zombie show on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's basically trying to figure out, it's this miracle. She came back to life. And you have this whole debate of, the character who's the atheist who doesn't buy into it. And, it's kind of this religious fervor that kind of starts to spread. And then
Okay.
as that is spreading, this zombie infection is spreading.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually a pretty good movie. I'm not really describing it very.
I was going to
But
ask you what you thought about it.
I thought it was really good.
Okay.
And the reason I bring that up is because, like I said, I saw it last year or the year before, but it's listed as the 2020 movie because they filmed it in 2020, and it was because it got pushed back. The release got pushed back because of the pandemic. But the original, the 2020 date is still on it for whatever reason. It was supposed to come out in 2020. But it came out later.
But there were different movies that were supposed to come out, and they got delayed. And when they came out, that's the date that was given to them.
I know.
Like Wonder Woman.
Gets, like I said, that's it gets confusing
movies.
Sometimes.
There's
a movie, God Forsaken.
God Forsaken. Okay, I'm not crazy about found footage, but I'll check it out. What you were saying something about another movie?
There was another movie that actually Aged Boomer brought up in my chat for my earlier show, and during Geeky Geezers, was a movie called Late Night with the Devil.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
It has David Dastmalchian in it, and he's this late night talk show host. His show's about to get canceled, so he decides he's going to do this kind of Halloween themed.
Oh, I've got that in my watch list.
Show?
I haven't seen it yet. Oh, it's got really solid rating. Oh, when's it coming out?
I don't know. That's the thing.
This looks interesting.
Now, the release date for it is March of this year. I haven't seen it in theaters anywhere. I haven't been able to find it on streaming. You can't find it in the quote unquote other places that we don't condone, where they say argy mateys.
This is the high seas, the 7 seas.
The 7 seas.
Let me see if I can find out some information about it. I'm searching.
So it's like
release. Okay, so it had its world premiere at South by Southwest in March.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. It's screened at different festivals. Kinetic Media acquired the film's North American distribution rights. Its worldwide rights were acquired by something else, but I guess it's just not. Wow, this actually looks really interesting, and I want to see this movie.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, no news.
It just
no news on
disappeared.
An actual release. Maybe they haven't been able to get it distributed.
Yeah.
That's really frustrating. I hope this is not going to be one of those movies that never gets officially released to the public at large.
Mm-hmm. Because this is turning into like one of those I call them stealth movies. where they get either a limited release or no release, and then you don't hear about them for years, and then they'll crop up on video again.
Yeah.
The movie that's really coming to my mind right now is this movie I've actually brought up on the show before called the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
I've heard of that, yes.
Yeah, which was this movie that was meant to be released in 2007.
Okay.
And then it actually didn't get released for like another 7 years after that. And I think the content of it, because it is such a, again, kind of a dark, brutal kind of movie, and that's probably why. Are you familiar with it at all, or?
I've heard of it. It looks like one of those found footage type of movies, right?
In part.
The Poughkeepsie Tapes. Okay.
In
I've
part.
heard of it. It reminds me a bit about of the issues that Sound of Freedom had. You know, this was a movie that was filmed in 2018.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to get it distributed and released until this year. So some movies, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not seeing any significant.
No.
Wow, this is really frustrating. Several people have seen it at different festivals. And one person said that they cannot figure out why it's not playing anywhere, especially now that Halloween is approaching.
Yeah, now would be the perfect time for it.
Yes. Oh. Wow. Okay, well, that one's been in my watch list. I'm definitely going to see that whenever I can.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be an Apple TV movie, Jesse. It looks like it looks like something that should be in theaters, and yeah, Apple doesn't really do
horror
necessarily.
Not like graphic.
I'm kind of surprised Shudder.
That's what I was going to say.
Hasn't tried to pick this up. It seems like something that would be up their alley.
Yeah, exactly. I just wonder if there's some sort of legal something going on, or I don't know.
I'm wondering. Yeah.
Okay.
Frustrating.
Well.
Okay. And speaking of frustrating, Exorcist Believer.
Okay.
This is a movie that everybody has a pretty strong opinion for, one way or another.
Yeah.
There are people who think it's like the worst movie ever made.
Okay.
Some people who think it's the worst sequel. Some people who think it's woke garbage.
I wouldn't go that far.
Which
there is that one dumb line.
One line, yeah.
That I did notice, and I forgot to mention it in my review, probably because I had already mentally just like signed off on that movie. You know, by the time I did my review, I didn't even do a sit down at my seat review. I did one in the car. But yeah, it's been. Don't even think I can say it's been divisive, because I think a lot of people have agreed. I think the majority of people seem to have agreed that it's not good. Like, it falls apart. That's the feeling I'm getting. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's the worst film, and I don't feel like it's woke garbage. I was with this movie up until they brought Ellen back. And when she came back, when they tried to actually tie this into The Exorcist and Ellen's character, and then it just went, just crashed and burned for me. If they had made this anything other than an Exorcist movie, and written some sort of other explanation for whatever happened with the kids in the woods, and even if it was demonic or whatever, and they had to figure whatever, it would have been so much better. But because they tried to tie it all back around to that original film, it just didn't work for me. Not from that point on, it didn't. And because it messed up so much for me at the end, that affected my overall enjoyment of the film.
Here's something that's going to surprise you. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I had a feeling that you didn't. I could tell based on something that you had like a thumbnail or something. Um, I didn't
Yeah.
hate it up to a certain point,
Hmm.
but then when she shows up, and I didn't think her performance was good. I think everything they wrote about her character and the stuff that happened to her, and then even the little touching moment at the end, which I totally predicted was going to happen, fell flat. It was just like, they should have just left all of that stuff out. Just have it be about these kids and their parents and, the
Hmm.
focus on the father and the daughter, and come up with some other sort of supernatural explanation for whatever happened with them.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is, I'm wondering if they wouldn't have been better off saying that, okay, it's in the same universe as The Exorcist, but it's
That it was like a
separate
spin-off type of thing
from
or
it.
something.
That
They
was
should
more of a
not
spin-off.
have tied that in. I
Um,
think that was a huge mistake. I mean, obviously they had to because Universal bought the rights and they had made this movie.
mhm.
I think this movie confirmed for me that David Gordon Green has made it his mission to mess up as many beloved horror franchises as possible.
Yeah,
I think
but
Halloween 2018 was a fluke, as far as how
yeah,
good it was.
but if I had the choice between watching Exorcist Believer again or either of his Halloween movies, I would still watch Exorcist over those movies.
Mm, I don't know. I don't know if I could.
Oh, well, give me
Wait, are
Halloween
you
Kills
you
at
talking
least.
about? Oh, you talking about kills or ends?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably kills because I just enjoy the Halloween franchise more than Exorcist to begin with.
Hmm.
So probably kills, but you know, if I had to choose, I'd probably just choose not to watch at all. Not to watch either of them.
I don't know. And maybe it just caught me on the right day or something. I
Yeah,
don't know. But it's like, okay, I was like, it's watchable.
yeah. For me, it's
I, wa-
watchable
I,
up to a point.
I wasn't bored. I have issues with it. Yeah, I do, and that's why I'm not sure where I am on it. You know,
Yeah, so you feel
um,
kind of
I
mixed.
I I'm mixed because I was expecting, based on what everybody was saying, for this to be this complete from beginning to end dumpster fire,
Yes,
and
that's
it
yes.
wasn't,
Not
in
for
my
the first
opinion.
half plus. Not for the first, I would say, 2/3 of, yeah, up until whenever she came in, because she didn't come in until more than an hour into the movie,
Hmm.
and I was with it until then. I was thinking, oh, this isn't too bad actually. This is okay. And then
Hmm.
she shows up. Like I said, it just
Well, this is the thing that I must have some kind of block or something, because it's like I was with it beginning to end, but there does seem to be that point in the movie where everybody else just said, "Nope, we're done," and I'm
yeah,
like, I'm not done. I'm
yeah,
here for the ride. And like I said, there are things that are wrong. I don't get the backstory of the nurse. I didn't like that because I didn't. What were they trying to imply there? I don't know if they were trying to say that her being involved with the exorcism was some kind of redemption arc or something. I
you
didn't
talking about
get
the
what they were
lady that
trying
had
to
the
do.
vinegar? Oh, that
The
nurse. Yeah,
nurse,
I
yeah,
didn't.
the Ann
Yeah,
Dowd character. I didn't I
yeah.
didn't I didn't
I
get where they were going with her.
that was that was clunky.
It was.
That was
I
clunky.
I did have a problem with that. That did downgrade things in my mind.
The whole
Um,
exorcism. I mean, it was interesting the little twist that they put on the exorcism about choosing. You know,
mhm,
and I was like, okay, that's interesting, and and then what ended up happening at the end? I was like,
mhm.
okay, that's That's interesting, and I can see why it went that way. But pretty much the entire exorcism, that almost the entire exorcism was just like, let's get this over with. This is
It's a
just I
it's a bit of a cluster.
and then like
Yeah.
vinegar. The lady threw vinegar with flowers or something, and it did something. It's like, what? And then you have Ellen's character trying to do sort of like a pseudo type of exorcism herself when she comes into contact with. She said she wasn't an exorcist. What is she doing? What is she doing? Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, in even the patriarchy line, if you think about it,
so shoehorned in.
It was shoehorned in, but if you think about it, it makes sense, because what is she? Her character, who is she? She's an actress.
Yeah.
She's a liberal Hollywood actress. Of course, she's going to bring up a patriarchy line.
Well, I mean, you mean like her character or the actress herself?
The character.
The character.
Yeah.
Well,
it says, okay, it's like, okay, it's a dumb line. It's shoehorned in, but it comes out of the one character in the movie who would say something like that.
But I don't remember her exhibiting that type of viewpoint or mentality in the original movie. So, also, someone on Twitter was talking about that line, and they were saying, I don't know, lady, maybe a little bit of appreciation for the priest that actually died saving your daughter.
That's another beef that I have with it. It's like, remember,
and they didn't even address that at all. It's like, what?
No.
Yeah, that was just like really weird veer off to like, oh, you had to put something in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, if you're going to be Karis, remember the fact that there was a Karis to begin with. And I think the main issue is that it is trying too hard to be like the original movie. That's the thing that is kind of holding me back, is the fact that, if anything, it was trying too hard.
Yeah. The formula was very...
And it doesn't quite get there.
It was similar. I guess they thought they were going to add this interesting twist in making it 2 girls that were possessed. I was like, okay. Oh, their heartbeats are in sync. I don't know.
Yeah. There's stuff in the third act that kind of comes out of nowhere that you're kind of expected to care about, but there isn't much of a setup to it, because the problem is that they have so many people coming in to do this exorcism, and you don't really learn a whole lot about any of them.
Yeah.
And not all of those characters walk out of the exorcism. Right. So it's like, okay, I get that I'm supposed to care, but you really haven't learned anything about this character. So it's not as hard hitting,
right? Exactly.
As they think, as the filmmakers, that it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it does leave a couple of interesting questions open. Because we have, the fates of a couple of characters that are kind of up in the air. But the thing is I don't think they think they're going to get a trilogy out of this. I don't think they're going to get a trilogy out of this.
Well, I mentioned that in my own review, but someone said, either in the comments on my video or on Twitter or something, someone said that they legally have to. That was part of the agreement.
Oh.
So we're getting a trilogy, but I've also been hearing rumblings that David Gordon Green might not come back to direct.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
But he worked on the writing of this one, and so even if he doesn't direct, from what I understand, he still might write the last two. Well, that's the whole problem. Is the writing. The writing was a problem. So
well, one of the writers on this movie is a guy named Scott Teems, and he also wrote the, if I remember correctly, he wrote the remake of Pet Sematary.
you talking
which
about the one
was
that came out a few years ago?
Yeah, which was less than great.
Yeah.
But
why do they keep hiring these writers?
I don't know. But like I said, it's like the reason why I haven't done a review is because I don't know where I am on it. I didn't hate it. I was engaged.
Well,
but I
just
get
say
that there are problems. You know,
well,
it's like
just say that. That's part of
I
your review. I have
I
mixed
could.
feelings. I'm not exactly sure. I do that.
I don't
and
know
I
how to
didn't.
rate it. You know,
You don't
and it's
necessarily
like,
have to rate.
you know,
I don't do that. Like for
yeah.
my reviews,
Mhm.
obviously on Letterboxd or wherever. I shy away from giving like an A, B, C, or whatever, or a star rating. I just regurgitate my thoughts.
Hmm.
And if I really enjoy something, I'll tell you straight away. I really, really enjoyed this. And if I'm mixed, I say I'm mixed. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I have a feeling.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly.
if I'm watching a movie and I'm coming up with a better movie in my mind, then you've messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into, you can get guys like Tom Connors or Script Doctor, and you can get them together on along like a Midnight's Edge stream, and they can just in 5 minutes give you a whole other way of this is the way we would have fixed it.
Yeah, the drinker does that.
And the drinker's really
He
good with
has
that too.
videos of that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And that's why I want to go back now and watch the review that Tom and Price of Reason did for Exorcist, because they actually invited me on that stream.
Oh.
But I hadn't seen the movie yet, so that's why I had to turn it down. But because I went to When Evil Lurks instead.
Okay.
So I said, he said, hey, because I'm walking out of the theater, I'm looking at the text, says, hey, you free to come on? And I'm like, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, man.
Shoot.
But I tell you one thing that I felt while I was watching was that I had seen all of his Halloween movies on Peacock.
Mm.
I didn't go to the theaters. I watched them on Peacock because they were day and date. And I'm like,
well, you mean ends and kills.
Ends and kills.
Kills and ends.
Ends and yeah. 2018 I saw in theaters, but the other two I watched on Peacock, and I'm like, I feel like I should be watching this on Peacock. That's the feeling I had. Why am I not? If I'm watching a David Gordon Green movie, I need to watch it on Peacock. So it is written. So it shall be done. But that was the weird thing about it. And there was a point in the movie where I'm like, I should be watching this on Peacock because this feels like one of the Halloween movies. But there's a point in the movie where I'm like, you just filmed that on the same set, didn't you? And maybe they did, because that's the thing, is that's why I say it feels like they're trying too hard, because it's like you have a director who's trying to shoot a William Friedkin movie the way William Friedkin would do it, but he doesn't have the experience behind the camera to pull it off. And that's another thing. And this movie is now finally starting to downgrade in my mind as we're having this conversation. But it just, I think that's the main thing. It's that I think it's trying too hard. But because I'm the kind of guy I am who's willing to give somebody a chance, before they hit the wall. And I don't know. It's it's like it's this movie that's like in this netherworld. It's all by itself. It's not particularly great. It's not bad, in my opinion. It's just there. And I don't know how to deal with a movie that's just there.
It's just there. Yeah.
It's just okay.
I felt
I don't
when
know.
I was watching it, the first half or so of it,
Mhm.
I had a very similar feel that I got with Halloween 2018. How
Mm.
that movie starts off, and I could tell, I can definitely tell this was done by the same director. It's got the same feel, the same tone. Um, but the difference between obviously Exorcist Believer and Halloween 2018 is that Halloween 2018 had much better writing, and the direction was actually much more solid. I think David
Mhm.
Gordon Green, I went into it kind of, I'm still pissed at him for what he did with Halloween. So I went into this expecting it was just going to be absolutely terrible from beginning to end. It wasn't terrible from beginning to end, but from a certain point to the end, it was absolutely terrible and just cemented in my mind that David Gordon Green is not to be trusted behind the camera and
Mm.
probably even writing. I mean, I am just so
Yeah. Because
aggravated.
this is what I'm sitting here thinking. Maybe if they had just changed some things in the third act, would that have saved it
Oh, I think so.
in
And
everybody's
by
mind? Or
changing things, that would have involved not bringing Ellen Burstyn back, not trying to tie it into the whole
Hmm.
Exorcist thing. Just make it your own separate thing. Then I think it would have been much better. Yeah,
Hmm.
I definitely think so. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, it's you know sometimes that's how these things go, folks. And
Yeah, feels like it's happening that way more and more.
more and more, though, that's you know because the thing is there are people who say, oh, you liked this movie or that one because everything else has been crap. But I'm like, no, because my opinion of what makes a good movie and what makes a bad movie has never changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is why I'm willing to say that so many movies that have come out in the last few years, I'm one and done. They don't have the rewatchability.
Yeah.
That movies in the past, like I can sit down right now and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark or
Mm.
Predator or Jaws. You know, um,
Yeah.
but
A lot of those movies from a long time ago that just
you know,
still hold up.
right? And the only movie that I've seen in the last few years that I would throw into that mix is Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, such a good movie, right?
So good.
Better than the
I
original. Better than the
Yeah,
first, I mean.
it
Oh, I love
is.
that movie. That movie surprised the heck out of me. I went into that film expecting I was going to feel very meh about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
amphibia.
it completely knocked me out of my seat with how good it was. It was so. I watched the trailer and I was talking about, Top Guns. And I wasn't even interested to go see the movie at first, but then I was like, oh, all right, I'll go see it I can do a review for the channel. And holy cow, got back, rated it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd,
Yeah.
posted that up on like Twitter and in Instagram. Then this was like Thursday preview, and
Mm-hmm.
people saw, some people were like, wow, like they were honestly surprised that it seemed to be that good. And it was like that became my number one. I went to go see that movie, I don't know, geez, 5 or 6 times on the big screen because that's where it should be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just, that's an example of doing it right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know, and having an actor going, and crapping on the fans, going on screen and saying, "We made this for you.
Yeah.
We waited until this movie was perfect
Yep.
so you could see it."
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, the work that went into that thing. Holy
it's
cow.
amazing. I mean,
Absolutely
there
amazing.
is nothing wrong with that movie.
Oh no.
You know, um, it So what if there are things that
The climax
quote unquote rhyme, but the climax is great, even though
was
there's the
like,
joke about Star Wars. No, it's not, but I mean it is. But
okay,
it's
kind
still
of
fun.
that part is, but still,
You know,
I don't know. I feel like they did it better than Star Wars.
they did. That's the thing.
It's just like
Because
from the moment they take off on that mission till the moment the mission is done, it is just solid.
it is.
Loved it. I mean, the entire movie from start to finish was just great. Yeah. That's what we need more of.
Yeah. That's good. Give me more of that.
Yeah.
Give me more movies like Dune. There's an independent Western that came out a couple of years ago called Old Henry.
Oh.
With Tim Blake Nelson. That is a freaking masterpiece.
Really?
And nobody saw it.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, it's Tim Blake Nelson, and he's a farmer. He lives kind of out in the sticks with his son, and the son wants to go off and into the city and fame, fortune, be a gunfighter, and all this. And the father's always trying to hold him back.
Mm-hmm.
And this wounded guy shows up on their property, bag full of money. We don't know who this guy is. They take him in, patch him up, and then this sheriff, who's played by Stephen Dorff, he shows up with his deputies.
Stephen Dorff.
Give us this, we're after this guy. You got to hand him over. And I don't want to give anything away past that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching this. I put it in my watch list. It's for anybody in the audience. It's playing on the Roku channel, which is where you can see it for free. So I'll be checking that out.
Great movie.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of it's got a solid score, but there's only like 16 fans of the movie.
Oh.
I never heard of this movie. It's not super long. It's 99 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It flies by. It's really, really good. Really good.
Cool.
It's got. I actually met Stephen Dorff once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was an extra in a movie he was in.
Oh, cool. Which movie?
Back in it was a TV movie called Quiet Victory to Charlie Wiedemeyer's Story. It came out back in 1988.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah, I was in high school. They filmed part of it at my high school.
Oh,
and then
okay.
in and around the town I live in. He was young, yeah. So it was him. It was Michael Nouri, Pam Dauber, Peter Berg.
Oh, Pam Dauber. Berg.
Noble Willingham, Reginald Vell Johnson. The dad from The Wonder Years was in it.
Yeah.
The housekeeper from Die Hard, the first Die Hard, she's in it. She plays Michael Nouri's mother.
That was. Okay.
It's one of those movies where you go, oh, I recognize that.
Yeah.
Everybody was somebody in that movie.
That's funny.
So it was kind of cool, kind of getting to meet everybody. But yeah, it's really. I think Amazon is carrying it right now. Last time I saw, so.
Okay, I'm just looking at his page on.
Yeah.
Letterboxd.
It's a good one.
Oh, forgot he was in I Know My First Name is Steven.
Oh yeah, that was.
I forgot he was in that movie.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Oh, that's a sad story. That family. What they have been through. You know what happened, like his brother.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to check out that cowboy one.
We're going back to movies that were done late 80s, early 90s, and we still remember it.
Yeah.
We still remember them to this day.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's part of what I'm talking about. If there's so many movies these days that are just one and done, they just don't.
Yeah.
They don't feel.
There's some
like real movies. That's
right.
Whenever somebody says, "Oh, I like that was a real movie," and I'm like, I get what somebody means when they say that. Top Gun 2 is a real movie. You know, Old Henry is a real movie. Dune's a real movie. There's a couple of movies this year that
The
feels like
Outfit was a real movie.
Oh, with Mark Rylance.
Yes.
I haven't seen that yet.
I loved that movie.
I heard a lot of really good things about it.
I just could give it nothing but glowing praise when I did my review for it. It was really good.
The Outpost was really good. Which was the Battle of Cam Dash that had Scott Eastwood in it.
Seen that. Yeah, I heard about that.
That was a really good one. There's a point in that movie where the guy that he plays got the Congressional Medal of Honor during the battle, and when they get to that scene in the movie, and you see that cold blue steel stare come down that his dad had, and I'm like, oh, I know where that's from. I know what's about to happen now. Yeah. Shit is about to go down. You know?
It's funny because is that the Australian movie? The one about that happens in Australia, or am I thinking of another? No, I might be thinking of another. No, okay. Never mind. So about Scott Eastwood, I've often said he looks more like Clint Eastwood than Clint Eastwood.
Well, now. You know.
No, I mean, he just I don't know. I feel like he looks almost like he could be his father's twin.
Yeah.
Except I feel like he's got attributes about him that present themselves in such a way that are to me, he's got this face, you can tell he's Clint Eastwood's son, but there's something about his facial features that to me look much better than even his dad. His dad was a little bit, the face structure is a little bit different than Scott's. Scott's is formed in such a way that it's anything that was lacking in Clint Eastwood's face is perfect in Scott's. So that's what I meant when I was he looks more like Clint Eastwood than Clint Eastwood. He's the perfect embodiment of Clint Eastwood, more than Clint Eastwood is. Yeah. But I've heard that movie's good, but I never saw it.
It is. Yeah. And there's supposed to be I think a longer version that's a director's cut that's a few minutes longer. I haven't seen it, but
okay.
The movie that's out, the theatrical edition, that's pretty good as it is.
I'll look that up.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's a 2019. Oh, it's got is that Orlando Bloom?
Yeah.
Yeah, Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, Orlando Bloom's in it as well.
Okay.
Mel Gibson's son's in it. And...
looks like it's also it's on Netflix.
Oh, right on.
Okay. Cool. Well, I've got some movies I've added to my list throughout the course of this live stream.
So is there anything that you've seen recently that you thought flew below the radar?
Let me pull up my list of films. Probably. Well, A Million Miles Away was good. That came on the big screen very briefly. It's on Amazon Prime. The Burial is good. That's both of those movies based on true stories, and they're both on Amazon Prime. What else? I'm trying to refresh my memory of things that I've seen lately that I feel like, oh, well, Talk to Me did not fly below the radar. That got noticed. Extraction 2.
I love those movies.
Yes. So good. What else? I don't feel like there've been any real actual sleeper type of movies, well, not sleeper, but movies that have been just tremendous, that other people don't know about. Okay, did you see Knock at the Cabin?
No, not yet.
That movie was a bit divisive, but if you ever get around to watching it, I'm curious to know what you think. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Um, it was psychologically terrifying, that particular film, the setup of that. Did you ever see Wrath of Man from last year?
Yeah,
Okay, that's an excellent movie.
I like that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so good. Uh, Dungeons and Dragons was good. That didn't really fly below the radar. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't perform well. Yeah, it didn't perform tremendously. I don't think. But I thought it was actually pretty doggone solid.
Hmm. Well, one that I thought flew under the radar because it had the misfortune of coming out at the same time as Super Mario Brothers was The Covenant.
Oh, The Covenant. Yes.
Yeah, this
How
is
could I
another Guy
forget?
Ritchie movie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's going to be my number one for this year. The Covenant.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's a really good. It's pretty
I
high on my
love
list too. Yeah.
that movie. Yeah. So you enjoy
I
Knock at the Cabin too, emotionally cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I actually saw The Covenant thanks to Jedi Bill. And he actually showed that one to me because we were doing a stream with a couple of other guys, and it came up in conversation. And after the show backstage, Bill's like, "Hey, do you guys just want to watch The Covenant? Let's just watch it." You know,
Oh, so you just did you just
right now? Yeah, we
okay.
just off the cuff to hell with it. Let's just stay up and watch this movie. You know, and
so good.
it is. It really is. And yeah, about this. It's for those of you who don't know what the Covenant is. It's Jake
it.
Gyllenhaal and Darceline, and it's about this friendship between this sergeant and an interpreter. And the sergeant gets wounded, and the interpreter carries him out across miles of some pretty rough terrain.
In Afghanistan.
With the Taliban on their ass the entire time. And the sergeant gets medevaced out, and when towards the end of the war, he decides he's going to go back and rescue the interpreter, who's now trapped behind Taliban lines. And it's a pretty good movie, you know. And when I'm looking at this and like, well, we'll look at the people who are his backup. You got Homelander,
yeah,
Bjorn Ironside, Sherlock Holmes, and a widow. You're not going wrong with that. So you're good.
Yeah. That movie had this great blend of action, tension, but also it emotionally resonated with me. Just thinking in general about the crap that men in combat go through and how unappreciated a lot of them are in general. It feels like there's this war between men and women, and men are just so vilified, and they go through and do so much more than anybody else that's criticizing them would ever be able to do. And also that scene where Darceline gets the wagon stuck, like he gets stuck on a rock, and he just stops. He just stops at that moment, and he just sits down and he has this little mini breakdown. But while he's having this mini breakdown, he is trying to hold back his tears. Like, he wants to cry. It's just right there on the edge. And he's just fighting it with everything he's worth, and because he does not want to cry. And I was thinking, you know, when I saw that scene, that just broke my heart. Because, you know, there's this whole stigma about guys crying. They have to be strong. And that kind of hit, what he was doing there kind of represented that to me. Him trying to hold it together and be strong, and everything, he's like inside he's thinking, I'm done, I can't do this. And yet that one scene with him, I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this guy. Yeah. His acting, it was so good, it was so real. Yeah, it was a great film. Yeah, saw it twice on the big screen. . 'Cause, 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 'c
I'm trying to think. What's maybe another one that might have put under?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
can't believe
this is going to be really. I think it's going to be really easy for me to come up with a with the lists at the end of the year, because they're
start putting
you,
them
you,
putting it together on Letterboxd.
oh yeah,
And you'll probably refresh your memory too about some stuff.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
I thought The Machine was good. The Burt Kreischer movie.
Oh, I didn't get to that one.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty fun. And
No.
Mark Hamill was in it. He was crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Puss in Boots was really good.
Oh,
And what else?
what did you think of Sisu? Did you see that one?
I did see that, and I really liked that movie up until it started to get John Wicky at the end.
Oh,
And I mean, I still enjoy the movie, but that part taints it for me.
hmm.
That stuff at the end with the plane. Mm.
Yeah, it's over the top.
I was like, and they were kind of approaching that over the topness in some parts, but I could overlook it because it was handled well.
Hmm.
But from the moment the plane thing happened with the pickaxe and the plane, I was just like, oh, come on. Now you're turning into John Wick. Let's not go there. And they went there.
Hmm.
So, it was
Yeah,
it was solid-ish until that moment.
yeah.
It was really effective, the stuff that they were showing on there. Ooh, Lord.
Hmm.
Some of the
Yeah,
injuries.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Well, here's one that's on my list, and this one I want to bring up because we brought up the Covenant is Kandahar.
Yeah, Kandahar made me
Because
feel like it was going to be a carbon copy of The Covenant.
yeah, it kind of still a decent movie,
It was decent.
but
Yeah.
yeah, um,
It was okay. I didn't hate it outright. Um, yeah, it was solid.
hmm,
Nowhere near as good as The Covenant, but it was
no,
solid.
it's solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me see what's the other one I was thinking of. I got my list out here and I'm scrolling through it.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through stuff I
Um,
rated on Letterboxd.
mm,
See How They Run was good.
mm,
Some of these might be from last year. I don't know. It doesn't have the year on them. Can't remember.
oh. Yeah, I do them by year. Did you ever see It Lives Inside?
I
Because I
did.
know that was
That was
that
one
was
of the
a
Mystery Movie Mondays.
Mystery Movie Mondays. Yeah.
I did see it, and
Hmm.
I almost feel like a rewatch is in order because there was stuff about it I didn't understand culturally that I think fed into um, my frustration because some stuff that didn't make sense to me. That later I was talking to someone that had watched it there, and he was explaining certain cultural things and its
Hmm.
significance, and then of course knowing that now the things that I didn't understand or that frustrated me make a little more sense now. Um, it was decent. I'm not super in love with it. Maybe if I rewatched it, I would change my mind though.
Yeah. I wasn't super in love with it either, but I thought the ending was interesting though. Where where it leaves off, like a that's actually a pretty ballsy ending.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
it's not entirely resolved, is it?
No, no, and
you
you
know.
know it's not. That's the
No.
whole point of like the stuff they were doing at the end with the meat.
Hmm.
And then no, it's not resolved. They're
No.
just kind of delaying something that's probably going to end up happening again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw it at some point after I'd seen Talk to Me, and so I was kind of comparing it because it was two
Oh.
films from two different, like cultures or whatever. Because Talk to Me is Australian, um, And the other movie, I don't remember where it was supposed to take place, Canada or whatever, but it was about an Indian family. And so I couldn't help kind of comparing the two. I felt like Talk to Me was the stronger of the two. The minute they show a Cold War tank in a World War II. Oh,
Yeah.
see, I didn't pick up on that. I didn't pick up on
Yeah.
that. I wouldn't have known.
The drinker, Critical Drinker, in his review of Caesar, he brought up the fact that the tank was not.
My son would have noticed something like that.
Was not the. No, that's not the tanks the Germans were using.
Oh, okay.
No. So yeah, but you got to go. I went into Sisu thinking, okay. If you think about it, it's kind of comic book. It's kind of comic bookish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go into it with that kind of a mindset, then you'll get it. Do I think it was a little bit overhyped? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
But I still have a lot of fun with it. And
yeah.
I kind of like the fact that they got the kid from. Did you ever see a movie called Big Game?
I think I've heard of this movie.
It has Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Oh.
And Ray Stevenson was in it. And it's the same director as Sisu.
Is it really?
And the kid who's the tank driver in Sisu, he's the kid in that. He's like the lead character in Big Game. Yeah.
This is striking a memory to me, like I've seen bits of this or something. Okay. No, yeah. The premise sounds very, very, very familiar. So, yeah, I've seen parts of it. I have seen parts of it. I don't think I've seen the whole thing, though. Or if I have, I forgot it. But that's interesting. It's a 2014 movie. So, yeah, see here. He was also in Rare Exports. Oh, I recognize his face. Yeah, I know this kid. I've seen him in other stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
He was really young in Rare Exports. Wow. That movie is so much older than I thought.
Okay. Let me see. Sorry, folks, you're both scrolling through our lists here.
Yeah, I know. We're looking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Because, like I said at the beginning of the show, Sin and I have seen a lot of the same movies, and we're kind of we keep up to date on this sort of thing, and then I knew we were kind of kindred spirits when we kind of came out with that freelance review at the same time, and I'm going, I get it. Yeah, I bet we watched the same show at the same time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. I'm going to the next one too. I already have my ticket.
Oh, when's the next one? I haven't looked.
It's on the app. It's showing. It shows on the app. Let me open it. Sometime, I think October 23rd, maybe. Oh, shoot. I opened up the wrong app. Doggone. Let's see. Yes, October 23rd at 7.
Oh.
Yeah, bought my ticket already. So, looking for... I'll also have a ticket already for Five Nights at Freddy's. So, those are the immediate movies I'm going to be seeing. But, like I said, I check my app. I check my coming soon every day and scroll down to see what's playing. So far, nothing really new, I don't think. Dawn of the Dead 45th anniversary is coming out. Oh, the Radical movie is finally on the app.
Oh, cool.
Radical movie that Polly has talked about.
Polly was talking about, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, The Shift. I don't think tickets are on sale for that yet. No, yes, they are, but not at the theater I go to. Okay, sorry. I can get distracted on that app.
Oh, no, I'm the...
Yeah,
You
Five Nights
got
at
me
Freddy's.
looking now.
Hoping it's good. Hoping it's
Yep.
good.
Mystery movie in 7 days. Five Nights at Freddy's. I have some trepidation about that because you have the runtime.
Yeah, what
which
is the
is
actual runtime?
3 hours.
For real? For real? Really?
I had heard 3
I'd
hours,
heard
but
this, but I didn't know if that was confirmed.
But I'm looking at the app, and the app is saying an hour and 50 minutes, which makes more sense.
All right, I'm going to do a search. Hold on.
Okay. Because the other thing I was going to bring up, because I also had heard that it was going to be day and date on Peacock.
Oh, really?
And I'm like,
I don't like those day
that's dumb, you know.
Yeah, I don't like those.
Because my thought is, if this movie is in fact 3 hours long, I think I'll just watch it on Peacock, you know.
Yeah.
But this is saying an hour and 50, so
I'm trying to find actual stuff. Okay. It says even though I'm on Regal's website, even though because they have an article, even though early rumors hinted at a 3-hour runtime, they were eventually disproven when it was officially announced as clocking in at 1 hour 50 minutes. So
okay, that's better.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mind 3-hour movies if they're good, but that really does surprise me that yeah.
You know, Oppenheimer's 3 hours, but that's the biopic. You expect it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think a 3-hour Five Nights at Freddy's movies is necessary.
Didn't feel like it should be, right?
No. You know, especially
Jesse,
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to respond to Jesse. I finally saw Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know, earlier at some point, and I was not crazy about that movie, and I know it's a fan favorite. It was a musical, and I didn't care for it at all. No, sorry, were you getting ready to say something?
Well, I forgot.
Sorry about that. I know.
I'm elderly. All right, let me see. Oh, and hello, Bella Triggerfish. All right, it says, I just watched Aliens Director's Cut with my son. 2.5-hour movie. It didn't feel long. No, it doesn't at all.
I don't.
Very well paced movie.
I've seen the director's cut movie of that.
Oh, yeah, the director's cut's really good because it adds in the whole backstory with her daughter, and
oh, okay.
There's a lot of there's some more character stuff, and there's a couple of extra action beats, and it's actually pretty good.
Maybe I'll see.
I actually like it better than the theatrical version, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, I like Aliens. Okay, it's not my favorite. I prefer the first one. I know that's not a popular opinion,
no,
but
that's fine.
I haven't seen the director's cut, so maybe I'll see if I can find that. Okay, and I'm just looking at the time. It is 2:20.
Yeah, it is
2:21. We have talked for 2.5 hours almost.
We have.
Okay.
So do you have to?
I probably
have to go, or
probably shortly. I would, if this were any other time of day, I could hang around forever. But as we approach 3, and I know I have to be up in less than 6 hours, I'm like, okay, tomorrow's going to be rough.
Right. Well, then we should do this again sometime. You know, when we at a time that's more conducive to you, we just hang out and talk
when I'm
movies.
Not in the study when I'm not in this study I was telling you about, and I don't have to be up at a certain time because I work from home, so I typically don't have to get up at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I have to. So yeah, which is annoying. I don't like that. Have you seen the other Five Nights? Oh,
I've seen Willy's Wonderland. Yeah, that's a fun one. And
I
Nicolas Cage.
haven't seen that.
It's got Nicolas Cage in it. He doesn't say a word through the whole movie, and
Oh no, I haven't seen that. Doesn't sound.
it's interesting. It's he breaks down outside. His car breaks down outside this small town. He takes a job so he can earn the money to fix it, and he winds up in this kind of Five Nights at Freddy's type situation.
Oh.
And these kids break into the place because the place is abandoned because all of these deaths have taken place there, and the guy who runs the place is trying to cover all of this stuff up, and Nicolas Cage's character, like I said, he doesn't speak. He's OCD, so he will actually stop in like the middle of an action sequence, in the middle of a fight, and go and clean something.
Oh gosh.
or he'll just take a break. Like, here, you handle this. I'm going to go sit down.
Funny. That reminds me of a character in the anime Soul Eater who was OCD. Okay, I put that in my watch list, though. I don't know. We'll see about that one. Yeah.
There's this trailer on YT that's coming in my face constantly, but bad choice of words there, Triggerfish. A Western with Nicholas. I'm trying to do a PG-13 show here, man. Help me. A Western with Nicolas Cage. I got to say, I'm intrigued. I think it's that Butcher's Crossing or whatever the name of it is.
I don't think I'd heard of that one.
That looks interesting. I saw that other Western that he did earlier in the year, The Old Way. I wasn't too thrilled with that one. But the Butcher's Crossing looks good.
Okay. Put that also on my... Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse,
that's okay.
Yeah, I not as much of an anime fan as my kids, but I do enjoy some anime. Yep.
Okay. And Hello, Big Al Presents.
Oh, before passing out again.
Hi,
Big Al.
Yes, Butcher's Crossing. Okay, yeah, it's fun. I've seen the trailer for that. It looks really good. It looks like, and I don't know if I'm just reading too much into it. I'm thinking it's probably the closest we're ever going to get to like a Blood Meridian movie.
I don't think I saw that movie. Blood Meridian?
Blood Meridian is a Cormac McCarthy novel.
Oh,
and
okay.
they've been trying to make a movie version of that for years. But if you've ever read it, it's not really the most cinematic book of all time. It's kind of like Catcher in the Rye. You can't really get it.
You can't really adapt it, yeah.
You can't really adapt it, yeah. But yeah, Butcher's Crossing. I've seen the trailer. It does look good. All right, and like you said, it is starting to get a little bit late here,
yeah.
and I do want to get you.
Sorry about that.
I don't want to keep you for too long.
I hate to bow out of a stream while it's still going.
No. That's fine. Now's as good a time as any to wrap it up. I want to thank you very much once again for taking time out to come in. We do have to do this again at a time when your schedules may be a little bit better. I want to say a quick thanks to everybody in the chat.
Yes,
Connie, Hello Triggerfish, Jedi Bill, Jesse. Let me scroll up. Emotionally Unstable Amphibian. I know I missed a few people there, but Pleasant Valley Picker. Thank you for being here. And of course, Troy and Netters were here earlier. Lester was here.
Yeah, there were several people.
Yeah, pretty good turnout.
Yep.
All righty. Any last words before we close it out?
I can't think of any because my brain is dead.
Fair enough.
I've got a couple of reviews I'll be trying to put out this week. But yeah, that's all. I just don't know which ones will come up first.
Yeah.
And I noticed, I don't know, I don't know if you did this intentionally. I toyed with the idea of streaming this as well to my channel because you've got that feature enabled.
Yeah.
So maybe next time I'll do something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like doing that, introducing my people to your people, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have brought that up beforehand, I guess. But
that's okay.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Okay. Well, if you want to put this on like a playlist or something, I have no problem if anybody does it. So, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So sure, no problem. This is how we. This is how we network. This is how we gain subs. This is how we.
And it's funny how the circle just expands and expands. I've met so many cool people.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. And again, thank you, Sin. Thank you, chat. Thanks to everybody who was lurking, because there's always a couple in the background. It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the chat, just as long as you enjoy the show. If you're not yet subscribed to Sin, now is the time. Her channel link is in the chat. All right. From HQ. Good night. Take care.
Adios.
Stay strong, because this is how we win.